Hello, colleague teachers. Welcome to this tutorial. Today, I want us to discuss on preparation for a P1 interview, or T.S.C. P1 interview. There are a few things that we'll be discussing. The first one, we'll be looking at grooming. Then we'll also be looking at documents. Then we'll be looking at selection panel, and also things like score sheets, marking scheme. We'll be looking at also cases of dissatisfaction, and also some few notes that we'll be talking about at the end of this particular tutorial. So feel welcome and stay with me up to the end of this particular tutorial. So as we have said, we'll start by looking at grooming. So most of the time, some of us go to the interview when they're not well groomed in terms of the way they're putting on and the attire and so on. So today I want to tell you that grooming is very, very crucial when it comes to interview. Go to the interview when you are properly groomed. For example, the clothes that you want to put on should be clothes which impress the panel. Don't put on clothes, for example, which exposes parts of your body. It will never go well with you on that particular day. So just put on well. To me, I will prefer cool colored official attires. Cool colored official attires. Go for cool colored official attires. Avoid those clothes with shouting colors. Just go for cool colored official attire. Ladies, avoid very tight clothes. Men, your trousers should be very nice. So that is what we can say about grooming. It's very, very important. Then two, we talked about selection panel. So when you go to the interview, you should expect a selection panel, particularly the sub-county selection panel. And this particular selection panel comprises of the following people. There is normally the T.S.C. sub-county director of education, that will be the chair of the panel. Then there's also T.S.C. sub-county human resource officer, that will be the secretary of that panel. And then we also have all zonal curriculum support officers who will be attending. They will actually be the members of the panel. So those are the panel people. When you go for the interview, so expect the SCDE, who will be the chair. Expect SCHRO, who will be the secretary. And also expect the CSOs, all of them, the zonal CSOs. They will be attending that particular interview on that particular day as members. So those are the, or rather that is the selection panel. So we also wanted to talk about documents. There are some documents that you'll be required to carry with you on that particular day. So you should not forget to carry the following: one, national ID, and these documents you're supposed to carry both original and the copies. So one, national ID card. Then you should also have two passport size photos. Then you should also carry KCPE certificate or its equivalent, such as CPE certificate. Then you should also carry KCSE certificate. Then I want to say that if at all you repeated, then it is proper for you to include even your first attempt KCSE certificate. Then you should also carry PTE certificate, that's primary teacher education certificate. Then You should also carry with you living certificates for primary, secondary, and the college. Then you should also carry your KRA PIN certificate. That is also very important. Then we have also to note that there are some documents which may be required after the interview. If at all you are successful, then you'll be required to bring bank form, bank plate, and commitment letter. You're supposed to write commitment letter by you showing that you will be able to work for not less than 5 years and not less than 3 years if in the northeastern. So those are the documents we can talk about. So very important. Don't forget to carry all of them to the interview. Then we now want to look at the score sheet. That is the marking scheme. So the marking scheme actually is in 4 sections. Section A, B1, B2, C1, C2. There are actually 5. So let us go through these sections one by one. So section A, as you can see, we have they are looking at professional qualification, P1 qualification. So if you have 53 to 64 points, you will be able to garner 20 points, or rather 20 marks, as you can see. When you have between 39 to 52 points, then you are supposed to get 25 points. Then 27 to 38, you are supposed to get 30. 15 to 26 points, 35. Then 6 to 14 points, 40. So which means the highest possible score in this particular section is 40 marks, and is calibrated into those 5 areas, or rather those 5 area of points. So this one now will depend with what you have, how many points you have to be able to garner very good marks on this particular area. So that is section A. Then we have section B1, where they are looking at length of stay since graduation. And actually, if you have never been employed by T.S.C. So this one is for those who have never been employed by T.S.C. and actually is considering length of stay if never been employed by the commission. So as you can see, those who have stayed, or those who have been at home from 2008 and before, that means 2008, 2007, 2006, going downwards, are eligible to garner 40 marks. And you have to know that that's the maximum score in that area. So it means if you 2008 and before, then you are supposed to get 40 marks. And as you can see, the marks actually decreases by 5 as you go down. 2009, 2010, 35, up to 2019, 2020. So when you 2019, 2020, then you are supposed to get only 10 marks. But you don't fear, you have to try, even if the marks is little in that particular bracket. You just have to try. So 2019, 2020, 10 marks, the lowest. 2008 and before, you get 40 marks. So that is section B1, where we consider length of stay if never been employed. Then section B2, we look at length of stay since graduation if previously employed by the commission. So as you can see, those who will garner the highest marks in this area are those who graduated 2004 going downwards. So 2004 and before, they will get 40 marks, the maximum or the highest score in that area. And then the group which will garner little marks is now 2015 and after, or 2015 and beyond, they will now get 5 marks only. And as you can see, also marks, they actually decrease by 5 as you go down. So that is how this one will be scored. Remember, this one is considering cases where participants have been, rather applicants have been employed by the commission, length of stay, and if previously been employed by the commission. So that means that the longer you've stayed at home and in employment by T.S.C, actually the higher you will garner those marks. So that is that section. Then another section is section C1. Section C1 now actually considers age of the applicants. Age of the applicants, and if never been employed by T.S.C. So your age is very paramount in this area, and if you have never been employed by T.S.C, then this area for you. So those whose age falls in the bracket of 40 to 45, you're able to see that these people have they have a lot of marks. They have a lot of marks. 40 to 45, you'll have 20 marks. Then those who have 28 and below, actually those are people who are still young. 28 and below, you can see they have got only 4 marks. They have got only 4 marks. And then it means that the younger you are, the less the marks in this particular area. But actually they have put those ages in those particular brackets. So 28 and below, you will only get 4 marks. 40, 45, which is the maximum, you get 20 marks. So remember, when you are above 45, then you are not eligible to apply for this T.S.C job. So you should be 40 to 45, and 45 is the maximum. So, and if you have never been employed by T.S.C, yes, this is your area. This is your area, section C1. Never been employed by T.S.C, and then we are looking at those ages. So section C2, as you can see in section C2, also look at the age of the applicant, but if been previously employed by the commission. So if your age is higher than the others, falling between 45 and 44 and 45, and then you've been previously employed by the T.S.C, then this is the area. This is where you will scoop even the highest marks, 20 marks. If you are falling in 44 to 45 age bracket, then you are going to scoop 20 marks. So as you can see, the ones with 30 and below, 30 years and below, they will get only 4 marks. So this area for those who have been previously employed by T.S.C. So you can look at those age brackets. 31 to 34, 8 marks. 35, 39, 12 marks. 40, 43, 16 marks. 44, 45, 20 marks. So you pray that your age even falls in this bracket, 44 to 45, so that scoop a lot of marks. So that was the marking scheme. That's the score sheet. That's how it looks like. And actually the grand total is 100 marks. The grand total is 100 marks. So that will be the score sheet. So next, we will look at something very, very crucial here. There are some cases where applicants after the interview or during the interview, they happen to tie. They happen to tie, maybe tying two people tying in position one. Remember, two teachers cannot be employed at the same time, at the same interview, the same subject, if only one teacher was required. So in that particular case, what happens is that the panel have to look for parameters to break the tie. So there are some few selection parameters that the panel normally uses, and they are the following. So the first one, we can use the age of the applicant. The age of the applicant. So if the age is falling 44 to 45, that can be used to break the tie. And also, if there is also some teaching previous teaching experience of 3 years, and had not been previously employed by the T.S.C, it means that is the person that's going to be taken. If the age is falling 44 to 45 years and has been previously not employed by the T.S.C, and experience in teaching 3 years, then that will be a very good parameter to use, or a very good parameters to use to break that particular tie. Another parameter that they normally use to break ties is them considering the highest grade in the teaching subject. So if one of the successful candidates happens to have very good grades in those teaching subjects, or the teaching subject that the panel considers, then that is the person they are going to consider for that job. So they also consider highest grade in those teaching subjects. Then another parameter, they also use quality of the academic certificate, particularly KCSE. So the panel will look at the overall quality of the KCSE certificate. They will compare the certificates, and then the one they consider to be of high quality, that is the applicant who will take up the job. And then they also consider year of graduation. So if at all you are tying with somebody else, and one of you graduated earlier, then the person who graduated earlier will be considered for the job. So that is what will be used to break the tie. Then another thing they will also use to break the tie, they will also consider the applicant who had not been employed by the commission. So that will also be a very good parameter to break the ties. So those are some of the parameters they normally use to break the ties. Then we can also look at dissatisfaction. So remember, everybody will not get satisfied by the decision the selection panel will take at the end. There are some people who will leave the venue dissatisfied, crying as they head back home. So I want to tell you that when you are not satisfied, with the decision of the panel, then please, you are supposed to express your complaints to the T.S.C County Director of Education through a formal letter. That is what you should do, because we have to note that T.S.C interviews should be very, very fair and transparent. They should be very, very fair and transparent. So if you note a case where there is some sign of lack of transparency and fairness, then the simple thing to do is simply writing a formal letter to the T.S.C County Director of Education. So that is what you are supposed to do when you are not satisfied with the decision of the panel. So, colleague teachers, that is all I have for you today on TS interview. I wish you well. I wish you well, and I wish you well. Thank you, and welcome for another tutorial next time. Thank you.